Hey guys, this is my submission to the Cooler Master Case Mod World Series contest. It is a 3D printed tank. It was printed literally from the ground up. It has moving parts, both the turret and the track. Going to demonstrate here how you can turn it into or plug it in as a computer. It's fairly simple to do. You basically take the back cover off. Once you have the back cover off, you grab your cables, plug them in. DVI, there's actually eight USB cords there, power, network, audio cables. All of that's there, and it's very easy to plug in. Once it's all plugged in, which it only takes a minute or so. The hardest part actually is getting the cables through the trap on the back. It just takes a second to set up. It's just because it's a cable cover, and it does its job. It's just what it is. But once it's all set up, turn it on, and once it's turned on, the computer boots up, goes into Windows, just like any other computer at that point. It's very simple to use. A couple things do go on the tank as this is happening. The power that the computer has actually charges the battery in the turret, which keeps the webcam working. Alright guys, I got both up and down and left and right on the turret working. Just wanted to show that real quickly. It has the barrel right in the end of the thing, so when you're looking around you see that. And also the power from the power supply charges the batteries in the tank, so the tank can be driven around. It takes a couple hours to charge, but you get 15-20 minutes of driving around on it, and it's got to be one of the coolest computers that I have ever played with. Definitely the coolest computer I've ever built. I'm very happy with it. The controller that's right there in the center of the screen, that's the controller I use to control the tank. It has a NVIDIA Shield tablet on it. Underneath the covers, where at the front of the tank, are the power buttons. One of them turns the actual RC part on and off. The other part turns the power of the computer on and off. As you can watch here, the computer itself is plenty powerful enough to do anything that you'd want to do. It has a 4770K processor in it. It has 8 gigs of RAM. It's got a 256 gig SSD hard drive, and it has a 750 Ti super clocked EVGA video card. It's also running a 550 watt Cooler Master power supply, and actually, to keep the whole thing cool, I have a 120 millimeter Cooler Master fan, which more than does the job at pulling all the hot air out of the case and blowing it out the front. I'm going to load up World of Tanks here. Everything's running off of the computer right now, and I'll show you what I can do in World of Tanks. You can see that it runs fine. It does take a second to load, but that's not because of the computer, obviously. That's just the game if you're familiar with it. The tank actually moves very easily with the mouse. The 750 Ti is a fairly good card. Obviously not top of the line, but it definitely does this without a problem. I can load up games, I can play games, and in this actual picture or video here, you're actually seeing the Tiger 1 tank being run from the Tiger 1 tank, which I thought was just one of the coolest things about this. One of the inspirations of this was the Tiger tank from World of Tanks. I use that as a lot of my measuring. The barrel was actually elongated because the one from World of Tanks is not accurate to the real tank from anything that I can find, but it looks much better in my opinion with the longer barrel, so I actually made the barrel longer to follow World of Tanks. And as you can see here, as I'm playing through it, or playing through this game here, the game plays perfectly well. I think I get like 1 or 2 kills before I exit out of there. It's just an amazing everything works. It does its job exactly well, or very well. The detail is astronomical. The amount of print time that it took to make this was astronomical. So, pops apart here, pops apart here, this comes off, barrel pops out, turret comes off, back cover comes off. This is the nice computer setting. Oops. Front comes off, front plastic comes off, next piece of plastic comes off, next piece of plastic comes off, and there's the whole setup. This will be cleaned up a little bit more, but that's where we're at. There's just so much going on here. The webcam, actually, there's another thing to point out. The webcam on the top of the tank can actually be used from anywhere in the world, and it has it can be used from my phone, it can be used from the tablet that I can mount on the top of the controller, and I can mount my phone on top of the controller as well. But the cool thing is it's sitting in my office area. I can literally just remote into it at any time, and I can look around my room. And you know, the cool side effect that is if you're in my room, or somebody who just happens to, you know, my girlfriend's in there, or something else is going on, they're literally staring down the barrel of a Tiger 1 tank that's aimed at them while it's looking at what's going on in there. So I thought it was just kind of a cool side effect, and I have had absolutely zero issues with the camera itself. It is an amazing, everything works, it just does its job. The back of the tank comes off, the cables are all plugged in, there's 8 USB cords back here, DVI cable, power, network, everything can be unplugged, taken out of the tank. That off the side. The turret comes off the top of the tank. There's actually 3 covers inside the turret. There's a Wi-Fi PTZ camera and a battery in there. The battery charges off of USB off the computer. The PTZ camera can move it left and right and up and down. The wireless antenna is right there. The top of the turret comes off the tank. Under the turret, there are 3 windows. Underneath the windows, you will find the video card. Under the video card is the motherboard. There's also a SSD. In the front here, there's a 550 watt GX Cooler Master power supply. Behind all of the plugs and whatnot, underneath is the motherboard. Up on top, there are 2 chargers. The chargers charge the 2 batteries. The batteries are charged automatically whenever the computer's on, as the chargers are powered by the power supply. And that goes back to the batteries. On the front of the tank, there's a Cooler Master 120mm fan that blows all the air out of the tank, keeps the tank cool on the inside. So it's blown in by the power supply across the computer and then out the front. Works very well. Underneath the 2 covers are the power buttons. This one turns the computer on. This one turns the RC part of the computer, or RC part of the tank on. Underneath the front of the computer, there's the transmission, the motors, the gears, the wiring that covers the rest of the RC components. And right there is the LED light that turns on when you turn the computer on and off. And that's pretty much the whole tank. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed building it, and good luck to everyone inside the contest.